Have you started a podcast, but you're wondering, where's the money coming from for this podcast? Maybe you're always busy doing editing or interviewing guests, and yet you haven't seen a return on your investment for the amount of time, money, and effort that you're putting into producing your very own podcast. Watch this video to learn how to turn your podcast into a profit podcast. For the best leadership tips, entrepreneurship advice, and subconscious success strategies to help you stand out fearlessly, build your empire, and crown yourself, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell, boing, so that you are notified every Tuesday and Friday when a new video goes live. I'm Kimberly Spencer, founder of Crown Yourself and the Communication Queens program. And after having my own podcast, The Princess and the Bee, for over 3 years now, we started it back in 2019. And after having guested on over 150, I think we're now up to 200 podcasts on other people's podcasts, and having coached many podcasters and business owners who have their own podcast, I have seen one very common denominator when it comes to podcasting, and that is an unprofitable podcast. If you are in the boat where you currently have an unprofitable podcast, meaning you have a podcast, you're putting a lot of time, maybe some money, energy, effort into producing, distributing, marketing your podcast, but you're not seeing an ROI from people coming into your community, to coming into your products and programs, people signing up for your email list, you're not seeing that ROI, then this video is going to show you exactly what's going on up in your business. The biggest mistake that I have seen entrepreneurs who start a podcast in order to build their brand is the if you build it, they will come. So many good-hearted entrepreneurs want to put their message out there and share their message, share their systems, their tips, their tricks, their strategies on a podcast, and it is a fabulous way to do it. However, if you have the if you build it, they will come mentality, then that can lead you into feeling like you're doing a lot. You can actually end up doing a lot of the editing, the production, the distribution, the marketing that goes into having your own podcast, but the data doesn't back up the amount of downloads, the amount of effort, the amount of energy that you're actually putting into that, producing that podcast. And this mistake is very apparent with new business owners. New business owners who start a podcast in order to promote their business are becoming one in 2.3 million podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, among the other podcasting platforms. How do you stand out as one in 2.3 million podcasts? If you don't have the audience size already with your business and the customer list size with your business, then you're going to be struggling with a lot of production and a lot of money going out into operations, or time going out into the operations, the editing, the production, the distribution, the uploading, the marketing of the podcast. And then you'll be struggling with, why isn't this producing the income that I want it to produce? And if you're a new business producing a podcast, you're likely to not receive the sponsorships from those big, larger podcasting sponsorships like Audible and all those ones that you hear on your favorite podcasts. And if you're working from the if you build it, they will come mentality, you're building not only the stage, meaning your podcast, the production, the distribution, the marketing, but you're also working on building the audience from your marketing. So you're doing double the work. And if you don't have the audience size, then sponsorships may be harder to find. However, I'm going to show you 3 ways in which you can start turning your podcast into a profit-generating machine, even if you have a small audience. One of the things I love most about podcasts is that podcasting statistically has the highest watch time, listen time, above all other mediums. So if you think about it, social media, you're scrolling through and you may see a post or something, you may like it, but it doesn't really land. Even YouTube videos, just like this one, the average watch time is about 4 minutes. But for a podcast, the average listener time is 20 minutes. 20 minutes. of listening time. That is 20 minutes for you to build the know, like, and trust factor. So if you have a new podcast and someone discovers your podcast, they are likely to listen for 20 minutes to get to know you. That is a fabulous amount of time to be able to build your know, like, and trust factor and share that you have products and services available. Because one of the biggest mistakes that I see new business owners with a podcast make is that they don't declare and share that they have products and services that are a continuation of what they talk about on their podcast. So for example, I was working with one podcaster who loved her podcast. She had built an amazing audience, and yet in over 50 episodes, she hadn't sold a product or a program once. Not once. Not a product, not a program, not a book, not an affiliate recommendation, not a coaching program, not a coaching service. She hadn't demonstrated or shared with her audience that she even had anything more than the podcast. And so when she came to me struggling to build her business, when I asked her, does your audience know that you have coaching services and other services that you can offer? The light bulb went off in her head. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've never told them. Your audience won't know to buy from you unless you share that you have things that they can purchase. So how can you turn your podcast into a profitable podcast? Step number 1, share your products and services. Now, you can do this in a multitude of different ways. You can record a specific commercial for your products and services. You can elude or expand on the products and services that you share about in your podcast. So for example, in my program, Communication Queens, where I teach my students how to profit from podcasting, I teach them how to embed their offers into the content that they're already delivering. Do you notice how I just embedded the offer of Communication Queens into the content of this video? I just went so meta, so meta. I was demonstrating while also demonstrating. I was explaining how to do something while also demonstrating how to do something. That was like double meta. That was high five to myself. So share about your products and services. You don't have to brag about them. You don't have to talk about them in a sleazy, spammy way. But if you don't talk about your business and the products and services that you offer, people won't know that you offer products and services that can expand on what you teach on inside the podcast, so they won't know to buy from you. You have to talk about what people can buy from you so that they buy from you. The second way you can make money from podcasting, especially if you are a new podcaster, is you can use affiliate links. So if you're an Amazon affiliate or an affiliate of another service, like I am of podcastguest.com, which is a directory to help you get booked and get on other people's podcasts. Now, the thing with affiliate links is that when someone clicks on the link, you get a percentage of that sale because you are the referring party. Now, sometimes that sale, especially if it's a low dollar sale, like if you're showing off books, like one of our strategies that we use in our podcast is I highlight books that are around the topic of what I'm talking about on that episode. So I know that my listeners who love learning and growth, if they're really interested in the topic that I'm speaking on the podcast episode, they can click below and buy one of the books that I recommend that's based on that topic. Now, the percentage that I receive as a business owner is pretty small compared to the percentage that I make on my own products and services, because on your own products and services, you make 100% versus 10 or 25% off of the sale, but it still is a nice way to have some passive reoccurring revenue coming in. Number 3, now, another way you can turn your podcast into a profitable podcast is if you have an interview-based podcast where you are interviewing somebody who's promoting a product or a service that's their product and service. You can be an affiliate of their program or their product or service. So the beautiful part about this strategy is you don't even have to create a product. So many entrepreneurs I know get bogged down in the creating of a product or a process or a masterclass. And so they spend 3 to 6 months creating this whole digital program or course and putting so much money and effort into it. Whereas if you have a podcast and it's an interview-based podcast where you bring somebody else on who's already created a program or a product, then you just become an affiliate of their program or product, and then you have the ability to have them sell on your podcast, and then you get an affiliate commission. Now, with programs, online courses, they can range anywhere from $47 to $5,000. So the percentage that you make as an affiliate could be substantial depending upon the price of somebody else's program. This also allows you as a business owner to generate income from somebody else's work and give them a platform to promote to your audience. This is a strategy I absolutely love and that I do when I go on anybody else's podcast. I always refer them to my ambassador program, which is for strategic partners, where I give 10% of any referral to who becomes a private client and 50% for any referral who becomes a client or a student of one of my group coaching or digital products. This allows the podcaster to make money. And I always love sharing that I far prefer paying podcasters and small businesses than paying Facebook for advertising. So it's really a win-win strategy for both the podcaster or for you as the podcaster and for the business owner themselves. So it allows both of you to profit. After all, a rising tide lifts all boats. And tip number 4, to turn your podcast into a profitable podcast, you can partner with local businesses or other small businesses. So if you have a podcast that's a smaller, newer podcast, meaning you're getting less than 150 downloads per episode per month, then you can partner with smaller businesses that are kind of in the same space. You can partner with smaller startups. You can partner with somebody who it has a product or service that is of interest. Maybe an esthetician who's launching her new product line. She's probably not going to get on the big product boxes and whatnot, but she can get on the smaller podcasts. She can start building from that community. So you can partner with another product or a service or another small business owner who has other products and services to sell and create a sponsorship relationship in that way without needing to go for these big giant sponsorships. This is a strategy that I like to call power partners, because when you have power partners, you are essentially rising together. So you meet a business owner who's maybe in a different industry, who has a product or a service that you support, and you let them record a commercial for your podcast that allows them to reach your audience and maybe charge them a fee, or maybe you do an affiliate commission. Either way, this is a powerful way that you can help lift other small business owners up and support each other as you rise and expand each of your audiences. Now, if you love these tips and tricks to make your podcast a profitable podcast, then definitely get your booty down on the waitlist for Communication Queens. Inside of Communication Queens, I teach you the exact strategies, tips, tricks, and I give you the swipe files, templates, and everything you need to turn podcasting into a profitable source of lead generation and client generation, more specifically for your business. Doors are opening soon, so definitely get your booty down on that waitlist right now. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. As always, my fellow sovereigns, own your throne, mind your business, because your reign is now. Watch these videos next to learn more about how to profit from podcasting. Watch these videos next. What? These? I'm not quite sure which way I'm pointing. Excuse me. Oh, hello there. I'm coming undone. Profit just makes me come undone.